How you going, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Working on the FJ75 yet again. Now, as you can see, it's looking very naked, and I'm sure it looks very different if you missed last episode. And obviously, as you can see, last episode we pulled the cab off. It's sitting over there, and this episode we're going to be working on the cab. Now, if you didn't see last episode, please be sure to check it out because it was a bit of a big one. Did a lot, and obviously a lot changed with the build. But if you're new to the channel, I'm restoring an FJ75. It's a 1989 model, so one of the earlier models, but full restoration pretty much. So please be sure to tune in, and yeah, I suppose we get right on with it. Get on with it. I don't know, something like that. So a little bit that I didn't film is cutting out the first floor pan hole. So the new floor pan is going to be welded in here. Also went along all the rust spots with a bit of rust converter. As you can see, there's a little bit of surface along there. That's all been treated. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Basically just getting it ready for primer. Also scraped both sides off. There was like this thick sound deadener, I don't even know what it is, on each side. I left some of it still around the gearbox and stuff on, but the rest of it, as you can see, I've taken off. Now, we did also find more rust in between videos. If you look up near where the steering wheel goes, it's all rusted along the top there, which I've treated with rust converter, but it's just more of a pain. But anyway, that spot's not too big of an issue. So I'm gonna try and weld in the new floor pan, also cut that out and weld in a new floor pan on that side. Super stoked. So, gone around the whole edge again on the top side of the cab, I should say. Now, what I've done here, I've just cut out this little strip. It was a bit rusted, not much strength left in the steel, so I've just cut out a little strip. Gonna run over to my roof over there, cut a little bit off, tack it in, and then should be sweet. Chuck the what's it called? What do we call it? The floor pan. We'll be sweet to chuck the floor pan in. And then we'll start welding that up and should be good to go. Should be good to go. Alright, I'm gonna flip the cab up. Before I do that though, I'm just gonna cut out that next hole for the passenger side floor pan. That way, while the cab's lifted up, I can grind it all back on the bottom side of the cab. And then we'll be welding in the second side soon, but it's pretty cool. I'm very, very happy with it. Very proud of myself, because I was just gonna get a mobile welder. I think I even said in my last episode, I'll just get a mobile welder to come and do it all for me, but then I just thought I'd bite the bullet and do it myself. So, like I said, I'm very happy. So this one side's done. Now we're going to start on the passenger side. Go around the edges first, grind it all down, and then we'll flip it back down and get ready to weld it in. Alright, it's a bit of a random one, but I've just made a little patch. There's a little bit of rust here, and then there was a little tab here as well that was rusted, so I thought I'd just cut the whole thing out, weld that in like that, and then that will also help me putting the, what's it called, floor pan in, because the floor pan will be able to sit on that. So we're just going to weld it in like that. Alright, now, can't lie, I cut this one out a little bit too big. It's going to work, it's just going to take a lot more time and effort. But anyway, what we've got to do first is we've got to go around the floor pan just to prepare it for the welding. We just got to grind the primer off on each side, that way the welds have something to stick to. So we'll do that and then we'll weld it in. Okay, so I'm just going to run over a few of the welds, do it a second time, just, I don't know, some of them, they didn't really bond to the steel that well, so I'm just going to go again. This one's pretty much all done though. This one's fully solid. This one isn't. There's a few little holes that I've blown through that I have to fill up and fix that up along there, but I also need to go on the other side of it and re-weld. Now, like I said, the driver's side's done. Passenger side, on the top side of the cab, I've only done 2 sides. I've still got to pretty much go over all of it though. I've just mainly done little spots the whole way around. But yeah, getting there. Not 1, but 2. Very, very solid welded in floor pans. Now that the floor pans are welded in and all done, it's time to move on to the next bit of welding. I think I'm going to tackle the corners of the cab next, or the bottom of the cab I should say. There is one hole kind of in the middle of the cab. I think I might do that next. It's going to be a bit of fluffing around and getting the right size patch and making it so it works and actually lines up and whatever, but we'll figure it out. We'll get it done. It's getting close. Just turn the cab upside down. I'm going to do this next. I'll cut a patch out of the other cab, weld it in. The one I'm not looking forward to is this. This is a bloody mess. Now that's gone back, bent back in, but wow, what a stitch up. I have to cut a big patch. I've seen it done before online. It's just, like I've said, a big stuff around. So what I've done on this cab, measured from that hole to there, got my measurement, from that hole to there, got my measurement. That way I can mark out where I need to cut on this cab. So as you can see, measured across, and that's where it's landed now. Might not fit exactly at first. I've made it a little bit bigger, if anything, than that hole, but you can always take more off. You can never put more back on, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to cut that out, and then we'll see how it fits on there. Okay, so it's time to attack the corners. I finished welding that patch in. That came up all right. Once there's a bit of body filler on there, it will be nice and smooth. But this is the worst corner out of the 2. This corner hasn't held its shape at all. It's absolutely rooted. And the other side, as you can see, it's got its body shape still. It's just 2 holes cut out of it. Now, I've drawn up my first patch. Don't know if I'm going to go with it yet, but I've done it in a way that I can follow all the original body shape lines. So, you know, I'm cutting across that face there. I'm cutting straight up I'm going to cut straight across that face there, that lip, whatever you want to call it. Now I'm going to use a combination of the reciprocating saw with a steel cutting blade on it and the cutting disc on the grinder. And yeah. Yeah, boy. Get right in there very soon. That's gonna look awesome. I can't wait. I'm scared. Patch is all drawn up. No, not patch. The cutout on my cab, it's all drawn up. I think I'm gonna just bite the bullet and do it. What do you do? If it stuffs up, I'll have to fix it. So, I've got my mask and you're probably wondering why. Now, I'm going to be sanding body filler, and you're probably also thinking, we haven't put any body filler on the cab. But yesterday I switched on, I locked in. Now, I also didn't have my phone that has storage in it that I used to film, so I didn't get any content of it, but got the corners of the cab completely finished, fully welded in, grinded down, and then I got my first coat of fiberglass body filler over that. Now, I chose to use fiberglass body filler just as a kind of a main structural, whatever you want to call it, base coat of the body filler, fill in those bigger holes, and then after that, which will be soon, once I sand them down, I'm gonna put just normal body filler, lightweight body filler over the top of it. Also got the whole front of the cab sanded and a coat of primer on it. Now that primer is not going to be the primer that will be there when the top coat goes on. That's going to be sanded down. That's just there as, you know, there's moisture in the air, and if you leave bare metal, it just gets surface rust straight away. So that's why that's there. Also got the floor pans fully done. Sikaflexed around the floor pans, both top and bottom. That way, if there is any holes, even though I think I got them all, if there's any pinholes inside my welds, that way it just stops the water from seeping in and then rusting from the inside out and causing more issues later down the track. But that's pretty much it. I primed the top, like the inside of the cab around the floor pans, but yeah. Okay, so with the cab all finished, new floor pans welded in and new corners welded into each side, it was now time to coat the underside of the cab. So first step was me getting the hard bristle brush on the impact drill. Right after, I gurneyed the whole bottom side of the cab and washed it. That way, once it was dry, I could come in with my Raptor coating etch primer. Once the etch primer dried, I hit it with 2 coats of tough underbody coating from Raptor. It came up a treat and I couldn't be more stoked with it. Okay, so with that ticked off the list, I'm able to move on to the next thing that I've got to do, which is welding in a few patches into one of my inner guards. The rust had got into it, so I just needed to grind it all down and weld in a few new patches. Now, there's just so much going on at the moment. There's so much going on in my head with this build because it's going through the process of getting it painted, and I'm working on the chassis today, you know, working on different certain panels so it can get sent off, and just doing all different things. There's different parts everywhere, things I need to wash, things I need to clean up. So there's so much going on in my head. So I'm chopping and changing different things that I'm working on. So that's why I'm missing a fair bit of filming on certain things that I'm doing. I've been working on one of the inner guards up the front that you just saw me welding new pieces of steel into. I've been doing a little bit of body work on that, just putting a bit of body filler on. I've also done a few little things like take the carby, the manifold, and a few other things that were connected to the engine off. That way it's out of my way when painting the chassis. And number two, I've got a new manifold and a new carby going back on when it all gets put back together. So they would have had to come off anyway. But this episode was just preparing the cab for painting. Now it's not fully ready for paint, but I'm gonna get someone to finish it off for me as I'm mentally not able to do it anymore. I want it done, it's killing me, so I'm just gonna get it sent off, pay that bit extra just to get it done properly and get it prepped properly by someone who knows what they're doing. Now, as you saw before, we coated the bottom of the cab, so that's all done. The floor pan's all welded in, corners all welded in. It is a rust-free cab, so it makes my price go down a lot by thousands and thousands by whoever's doing the prep work for me. Because if someone has to do the welding for you and all the fabrication side of it, it makes the price just skyrocket up. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, on another note, that's going to wrap up today's episode. I'm actually working on the chassis while I'm doing this outro. I'm getting it ready